This is the course overview for EDU 595, Developing Character and Ethics. And my name is Denise Estrella. I'm your instructor for the summer 2020 term. I'm starting on our course landing page, and here in the announcements, I've listed the dates of each of the 8 weeks that we'll be working together, just for planning purposes. And now I'm going to navigate to the Meet Your Instructor page. And here is my contact information. You can reach me either by email anytime or by phone. Generally, evenings are best. I would say between 6 and 9, and on the weekends after 10 in the morning, up until about 9 o'clock. All those are fine. I'm also a texter. Feel free to text me, but please just include your name in your first message because I may not recognize your number. So if you have a quick question that needs just a quick answer, text or email is probably going to be the fastest. If you would like to speak by phone the evenings after 6 or on the weekends between 10 and 9 are best. You can read a little bit about my professional experience here. My background, I attended a Lutheran liberal arts college in Minnesota called St. Olaf, and I've been working in public education for about 20 years. A little unusually, I have a pretty broad range of experience. I've done almost every aspect except for human resources and superintendency. And all of that is here in California. So enough about that. What I'm going to do is walk you through the course, which is not really any different than any other Concordia courses, but just to call your attention to a few of the highlights. Over on the navigation bar, you'll be able to find our course syllabus, and you should read through it, or at least skim it, during the first week. And that is saved following this link here. Now, the information in the syllabus is also in the course shell, most of it, but there are some pieces of information that you won't find in the course shell. For example, the percentages for the grades, those are listed at the end, right here on page 10. But all this other information is also located in the course shell. So I'll just take you back through, for example, here for week 8, you'll find the exact same information, the Christian message, the learning outcomes, the reading, the discussion board, and the weekly assignment listed. But that's also listed here under each weekly tab. So you can access that information either way. Just please be aware that the syllabus has a little bit of information that's not here on the face value of the course. It's there for your reference. So for each week, you'll click on the weekly tab, and each week there'll be a video where I will review the topics and the learning outcomes. You'll always have a box with the tasks for that week. There'll be an overview video for each week. And then in that video, I'll go over each of the aspects for that week. And I'll also talk about the specific assignments that are associated with each week. So I won't be doing specific information about the assignments in this overview video, but you will be able to find that information on each weekly overview. I'm going to jump down to the course items just to call your attention again to the announcements page. I do my best to keep up with announcements that come both from the university and also just letting you know when your grades have been updated. Here's a short welcome from me. Here's an announcement about the Education Symposium on the 16th of May. And again, as I pointed out at the beginning of the video, here's the schedule of dates for each week. Now there are 5 assignments due in this course, In addition to regular participation in the discussion board, each of the assignments can be submitted here through the Submit Assignments page. And to do that, you click right on the link that says Submit Assignment Number 1. And under that, you can click to access the assignment directions. Again, I'll go over each of the assignments in the weekly video for the week they're associated with. The first assignment that you submit is due in week 3. So I'll be reviewing that in week 3, but you can access that here. And then when you want to submit it, you simply attach your file. You can write something here if you want me to know anything. You can copy and paste it in there, and you can make some comments for me here if you want to. And then you just press submit. So going back to the Submit Assignments tab, you'll see that there are 5. One is going to be a historical timeline assignment. One is a framework for ethical decision making. One is character and ethics in education research paper. And one is individual character analysis. And I'm just realizing that assignment number 2 is not linked in here. I'll go through and add it when they clone the classroom shell. They must have had a mistake. But we can talk about the second assignment. If you want to know that information now, you can go to week 4, which is adoption and implementation of a character education program, professional development to the faculty. This I'll copy and I'll have it appear under the Submit Assignments link right after I finish this video. But it is here. It's just not listed here at the moment. I'll have to remind them to fix that again. Okay, so for each week, you'll simply click on the weekly tab and you'll find the information for that week. Now, there's also the discussion board, which I'm linking here. You're seeing my view. The course isn't live yet, so nobody's participated. But you'll find that each week, for example, under week 1, you'll simply click on the discussion board link, and then you'll get to the point where you're going to respond. You'll click on the thread, and there you'll see the prompt, and then you click on reply, and that's where you put your post. Just a reminder that for the discussion board, there is a rubric, and I find myself reminding students pretty often that there are a couple of parts to the discussion board. Generally speaking, by Thursday at midnight, you should do your initial post and include scholarly references. And then again, by midnight on Sunday, you should go back into the discussion board and comment with substance on the posts of 2 peers. So your original post is worth 6 points, and each substantial response to a peer is worth 2 points for a total of 10. So here is the discussion board grading rubric. And what I find is from time to time, students forget to go in and respond to peers, and then they get 6 out of 10 points or 8 out of 10 points. So that is the same as it is for all other Concordia courses that I've taught. And I know it's easy to forget, but just do make note of the grading criteria in the rubric. Okay, so you can see that for each week there are discussion board prompts, sometimes more than one, and you'll want to make sure that you go in and do your initial post for each prompt and respond to 2 peers for each prompt by the end of the week. There's a collaborate room. Because this is an asynchronous course, we don't have course meetings, but if you ever want to use this to meet and do a face-to-face video, we certainly can, or we can use cell phones and speak that way. This is usually more important for the synchronous courses, but ours is an asynchronous course, so I just wanted to bring your attention to that feature. You'll be able to view your grade by clicking on the My Grades tab. Obviously, there's nothing in here yet, and I'm not a student, so I don't have anything listed, but you'll be able to see your weighted total, your total, and then your individual scores on each of the assignments. And I try to put comments in if there's, especially if there's points missing. So if you do see a note from me, it should appear right here. And then this feature, just in case you're not aware, send email. You may not know the email addresses of your course mates. For the most part, every class I've taught in Concordia has been the same group moving through, and you guys tend to know each other fairly well, and I'm the newcomer. But just in case you need to find someone's email, you can do that by selecting student users, and you'll see everybody's names in here. And you can also select users. So if you only want to send an email to one person or to more than one person, you certainly can. You can also email me here, but my email address is also listed on the Meet Your Instructor page. So just in case you need to contact somebody in the class, this is the way to do it. Okay, I will be assigning groups for one of the assignments. Please don't request to be with a particular group of people. We are instructed to do the groups at random. Well, maybe not at random. I generally assign the groups during the second or third week of the class. The assignment you'll do as a group, I believe, is not due until week 4. But I do tend to wait and read your posts on the discussion board before I put everyone together as a group. Really, the intention is to mix you up a little bit. So I will be posting the group assignments as an announcement, probably during week 2, maybe during week 3, but we'll see. That also just gives me time to make sure that everybody in the class is on the roster and that I'm not assigning someone who's not actually in the course. Okay, so just a few more tabs to go through. Here's the program information. Just want to bring it to your attention that you can get course descriptions, which you might need if you're ever having a transcript evaluated for an employer, for an example, or for another institution. It's kind of a good idea to copy and save these as a file. I wouldn't print it, but I would save the file just in case you ever need it in the future. Of course, you'll be able to get it through Concordia, but why not just have a file? That way, if your transcript is ever being evaluated and someone needs to know what was taught in the course, you won't have to have a delay in receiving that document or finding that document. There's also the capstone handbook, which you might want to refer to. It's listed right here. You will need to use APA writing style. There's a template provided for you so you don't have to spend time formatting every paper that you do. There's also a short guide that Concordia put together so that you don't have to buy the big blue writing style guide. But there you have the basics, things that you need to know. And I find these to be very straightforward and helpful. I actually made one of these when I was in graduate school, and I think it's great that Concordia gives you one. If you want to look up some of the information about APA, Purdue OWL is a great resource. Just follow it from here. Concordia doesn't have their own page because Purdue does such a great job. I also really like this handout, the verbs of attribution. I've shared this with people outside of Concordia because I feel like it's a really good tool for making sure you're using a variety of vocabulary and keeping things interesting. Also, when you're using a verb, it's important to use one that best fits the context. And I think that sometimes, especially because we're practitioners, we forget to mix it up a little bit. So this handout will hopefully come up in just a minute. We'll come back and see if that loads. And then finally here is the The blue book for the manual of the APA style guide. I have one. I have one in my office. I have one in my briefcase. I have the quick guide. It's really useful. You don't need to buy it because Concordia provides you with the quick guide. This one, the APA Basics. Not the quick guide, the APA Basics handout. But I find, especially if you're at the beginning of your program, it's a good resource to have. But you can also get this information from Purdue OWL. So enough about that. Here are links for the library resources. And the one most important resource I want to point out is the Writing Center. You will be writing a research paper during this course. It's due in June. I would encourage you strongly to work in advance and submit your work to the Writing Center. They give great feedback. Then you can revise your paper. You're most likely to get higher points on your paper because you work with the writing studio. You can do an in-person consultation. Well, I guess you can't right now because we're sheltering in place, but you can do an email submission, which is what online students tend to do. And they have a scheduling system. I've had a lot of students who've really benefited from this, and the sooner you do it, the higher your grades will be overall, and the more confident you'll feel in your writing. So I did want to point that out because it's a great resource, and I think a lot of people tend to overlook it. Okay. So that's an overview of the course. And again, I'm just going to go back to my contact information. If you don't want to use the send email, here is mine, denise.estrella@cui.edu. I'm here in California, Central Coast, so Pacific Daylight Time. And just wanted to note that you don't have to call me Professor or Dr. Estrella. You can just call me Denise if you feel comfortable. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. You can call me whatever you want. But I always go by Denise with my students who are adults and my coworkers and my staff. So please feel free if you feel comfortable. So that's the course overview. I'll look forward to reading your posts on the first week of the discussion board for your introductions. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, text me, or call me.